morning to all of you, and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. Welcome to all of you from far away. It's Omaha, Nebraska. Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Margie Curry, and today's session again is with our certified yoga instructor, Becca Impello, who has been teaching and practicing yoga for over 20 years. AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. It's the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering people 50 plus and older to choose how they live as they age. AARP is committed to offering opportunities like the Mindful Movement series that gives you a chance to keep moving in the safety of your own home. We want you to make sure that you check with your physician before you begin any physical program, to make sure that you are capable of participating. We don't want you to get hurt. Okay, Becca. Hey.
Good morning, Margie.
Good morning. Is it hot enough for you?
Oh, it is hot. We're going to do a little something for that today in our session, a little breathing practice.
Okay.
Down at least temporarily, but yes, it is plenty hot.
Well, we want you to take it away, and folks, remember to check with your physician, and we love having you with us this morning. Go ahead, Becca.
All right. Well, I'm also going to focus in on balance today. That's going to be the real focus of our session, and I'm going to in addition to our chair, which is the prop that we use every time so that we can do some things seated and then have some support if we need it in standing. Today, if you choose, you could have some sort of soft surface kind of thing. I've got a blanket, like one of my yoga blankets, and I'm just going to fold it up. And we're going to use it for some of our balance activities to give us a little different challenge by standing on an uneven surface. Of course, we're going to have our chair if we need it to hold on to. We're going to stay safe. But as a way of giving yourself a little different challenge, you might have a pillow or a folded towel or a folded blanket, or you might even just be in a place where you're already on a softer surface like a thick carpet or something like that. And that could be what you choose to use for a little uneven surface. Now, if you feel like I don't need to add any extra challenges to balance right now, then that's fine. You can do it on just whatever surface you're on, right? But that'll be one of our options for a little later on when we get up to standing. But I did promise something for helping us to cool down a little bit. It's pretty hot in the 90s down here in the South, and quite humid. So this is a little breath technique from the yogic tradition called Sitali. That's Sitali. That's just the name of it in Sanskrit, which is the language of yoga. And essentially what this is a cooling breath, a breath that uses the tongue, the surface of the tongue and the inside of the mouth as just a way of cooling the breath, the air off before it comes into our body, right? Sort of like a swamp cooler, but internal, right? Now, I want to just say that this is a nice technique to use, and it can make you feel just a little cooler or even calmer, right? If your energy is hot, not necessarily just your physical body. But I'm going to just remind you that it's not a substitute for proper, heat precautions. When you're going to be out in the heat, you still need to hydrate. You still need to seek shade and get out of the heat enough to keep yourself healthy. Heat exhaustion, heat stroke is nothing to mess with. And while this breath technique is fun and it may feel like it gives you a little sense of cooling off, and I encourage you to use it, don't use it as a substitute or as an emergency cooling off technique, right? All right, so the way this technique works is that we're going to draw the inhale across our tongue, right? Through the mouth, nice and slow, sort of like we're drawing the breath in slowly through a straw. We're going to hold that breath just for a split second or two once it's inside, and then exhale through the nose, right? So it's a little bit backwards than our normal breathing in yoga, where we try to breathe in and out through the nose, or at least in through the nose, maybe out through the mouth. This time we'll be breathing in through the mouth, out through the nose. Okay, so now one other element that you can do if you're capable of curling your tongue into a little roll, right? This is a genetic thing. Some of us can, some of us can't. It really is not something, apparently, to my understanding, that you can practice and learn. Either the capability is there or it's not. So if you can curl your tongue into a little roll, that's what you'll do. You'll curl your tongue, stick it just between your teeth, and you'll suck or draw the breath right over through the tongue. If you can't curl your tongue, then you're just going to let your tongue be relaxed, and you're going to make a little O with your lips, and you're going to use that as sort of as your tunnel to pull the air in. So let's try doing this just for 3 rounds to start with, just so we can get a feel for it, right? Okay, so sit tall. You can close your eyes if you want, right? Go ahead and make your little curled tongue or your curled lips. And we're going to draw that breath in slowly across the tongue and then exhale it through the nose. Here we go. Again. All right, pause for a moment, just breathing in and out through your nose. And I want you just to remind you to try to tune into the sensations that you're experiencing in your body as you do this breath, right? Not just afterwards, but during it. Can you feel the coolness on the surface of the tongue? Does the air that hits the inside of your lungs there in your chest, does it feel a little cooler than maybe your breath does when you're not doing that technique, right? And of course, you might just sort of sense, oh, do I feel like it's settling me down, calming or cooling me down energetically or emotionally as well? All right, so let's try it another time. Another 3 breaths, Sitali breath, or we could call it our swamp cooler breath if we wanted to. All right, drawing that breath slowly, as slow as you can, right, across the tongue. Here we go, 3 times. One more. And then just pause again. Feel the sensation of your tongue, maybe that coolness there. And just see what you notice. What was that like for you? Was it awkward? Did you not enjoy it? That's okay. Well, did you find it a little interesting, fun, a little silly? All of those things are okay, right? Sometimes we do things just for the novelty of it, more so maybe than the actual effect that they might have on us. All right, so now let's move on and get a little warmed up in our body before we stand up and shift our focus to balancing. So let's sit tall and turn the head right and left a couple times. Check in with how's your neck feeling? Where's the tightness that might live there today? And then when that chin is over to one shoulder, now let's drop it down and draw it across the chest to the other shoulder, and then go back the other way. One more time, rolling that head shoulder to shoulder, and then bringing it back to center and lifting it up. All right, and moving on down to the shoulders. Let's do some nice shoulder rolls. This is a great way to get some things moving there in your upper back. It's also great for the neck area. Good. Next time you roll those shoulders back, let them stay there. Drop the arms down at your sides. Swirl or circle the wrists around the hands. Maybe get some open and close of those fingers here. Fists spread and then clench. All right, and then let's make a little bigger movement for the arms. Arms forward and up. If you need to clasp hands to help them get there, feel free to do that. And then down to the sides. So forward and up as high as you can go. Down and back or to the sides. 3 more. Great opportunity for breathing in, breathing out. Bigger breaths, fuller breaths here than our normal breath. So this is a good change of pace. All right, now let's do some side movements, side bending movements to get our spine warming up. The arm can reach up and over, or feel free to put that hand kind of on your head if that's a better position. Or it's certainly fine for your arm to simply stay at your side, right? If the shoulders need a little break, you can do your side to side movement without any reaching of the arms. Let's do a couple more. Good, one more each side. All right, good. Now let's bring it down to the pelvis and the hips. Let's get loosened up here a little bit. I want you to roll back and forth or rock back and forth. Forward on the hips, back on the buttocks, right? So tilting that pelvis. You'll feel maybe some movement in your lower back. It'll go from being a little swayed or arched when you rock forward to being a little rounded as you rock back. You can make any movements that we do here together bigger or smaller, depending on what suits you, right? Both in terms of what feels right in your body, but also, what fits in line with what's been recommended that you do or don't do by other healthcare professionals, right? All right, let's come back to center. All right, now let's move on down and warm up the hips. Start with some marching. Try to sit up nice and tall. This is one time now where we don't want to roll back. We don't want to lean back. If your leg is, heavy or a little tired or weak, you might use your hands to help pull that leg up to get some movement happening there. If you feel like you don't need that, you might take the arms out to the side to make it a little more challenging. Now we are going to work a little balance thing right here in the chair in just a moment, and you'll find it really demands a little bit of work out of your abdominals. We'll get to that in just a moment after we finish warming up. All right, let's put those feet back down, arms down, and let's bend and straighten at the knee, one leg at a time. See how that knee joint feels. Let's get some fluid moving inside that knee, our natural joint fluid. It helps to, move it around and produce a little more of it when we move. All right, let's switch sides, taking that other leg, knee bend, knee straight. All right. Now, let's come back to the first leg. Pick that foot up and circle. Now, I really want you to pay close attention to your foot and ankle, right? With your vision, with your awareness. What can you see about its movement? What can you feel? Maybe even hear some pops and creaks. Circle the other way. When we do our standing balance, our feet and ankles are one of the main places where, our body is responding to try to keep us steady, keep us upright, right? So the more we warm that up, let's do the other foot out, circle. The more we, kind of get the brain connected to that and get those areas of the body sort of awake and active, then, the better time we're going to have with that balance. All right, go the other way with your circling. Now, I'm barefoot. Just a quick note, you don't have to be, right? So you might get a little more responsiveness out of your feet and ankles when you're barefoot because they're in more direct contact with your surfaces, but it's certainly okay to be in shoes and socks if that is what works for you. All right, we've gotten everything warmed up. Let's try our little balance activity here in the chair. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm a little bit forward in the chair, right? I'm not leaning on the backrest, and I've got a little bit of room because I might need to lean a little bit back here in a moment, but I don't want to hit the chair. Now, you can have your hands holding on to give you a little more stability, or if you're ready for a little more challenge, you're going to bring your arms out. All right, so I'm going to sit tall, keep my spine tall, and just lean back a little bit, and then I'm going to try to pick up one foot and then see if I can pick up both. Woo! So I feel that work right away in the belly, in the back. All right, you can come down and take a rest anytime you need to, right? So just keep that in mind. If this is difficult or challenging for you, you don't have to try to stick it out for a long time. You can come in and out of it. All right, so I'm going to try it again. I'll lean back, lift one, and then both feet. Again, if I bring my arms up, it's a little more challenging. So I'm balancing on my sitting bones on the chair. I'm going to take a break. So I'm going to bring the hands and the legs down. Now we're going to do it one more time. And if you're feeling like you can hold both legs up for a few moments, then you can try this next one. If it's a challenge for you to hold both legs up, then you can just kind of come in and out of it as you need to. All right, so I'm sitting tall, leaning back a little bit, picking up the legs, and then I'm just going to tap down, just barely touch. Tap, tap, tap. More challenge if the arms are higher. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, good. You may feel that in the thighs a little bit, just the muscles there that are helping to hold the legs up. All right, so we got a little preview of some balance work there. Let's go ahead and come up into standing. Now, we're going to want this chair to be our support, our place to hold on to. Now, if you've got something in your space that works better than the chair, like a wall or a sturdy piece of furniture, a countertop, that could be what you use instead of the chair. So just keep that in mind. I've got my blanket ready, but we're not going to use it quite yet. We're going to do a few things on our, on solid ground first, and then we'll get to that soft surface. All right. So I've just got that chair here where I can hold on to it readily, okay, as needed. Now, one of the things about balance that I like to emphasize is that you do want to be challenged sufficiently to give your nervous system the impetus to improve, right? If it's easy, well, then you're not probably getting any better, right? You're not challenging your nervous system to have to improve, right? So we want some wobble. We just don't want to feel unsafe or have anything go wrong. We don't want to fall, so we want to have that backup plan of something to hold on to. And just certainly choose your own comfort level with how much you want to challenge yourself. All right, so we're going to start simple. Bring those feet real close together. See if you can get the feet to touch. All right, so we're in a narrow stance. I've got my fingers right here if I need to touch. Now, for most people, this is probably already, this is probably pretty simple, pretty easy, right? But at any point that we get to a place where you're like, okay, this is not easy for me. I feel myself wobbling. I feel movement, then that's where you need to stay, right? And stop. You don't have to keep going with more challenge. So everyone's going to be in a different place. So if this is easy for you, then try closing your eyes. Just see what you notice. You may still feel relatively steady, but more than likely you're noticing at least a little bit of sort of shifting around the support of your feet. Now, this next addition you can do with either eyes closed or you can open them if it feels like you need to. All right, I'm going to start turning my head right and left. The movement of the head. Now, I can make this faster. And it might be more challenging because we're now making the inner ear equilibrium have to respond. All right, now open the eyes if they're closed. Maybe hold on to the chair. Okay, so we're going to progress. At any time, you could be holding on some while you do the other activities because that may be where you need to be. Let's step back with the right leg. All right, and my feet aren't touching. There's some space between them, but I did bring them in so that they're like on a tightrope, right? So my feet are on the same line. That makes it more challenging. You can go a little wider if you find yourself unable, to do much else rather than hold on. All right, so I've got my feet on that tightrope. I'm just going to start by seeing what happens when I let go. This time we're going to keep our eyes open, all right, but maybe add turning the head side to side. Again, I say maybe because some folks may find that standing on the tightrope is already enough of a challenge, in which case maybe you're not ready to add anything. Again, you could also experiment with, it is challenging already, touching the chair and turning the head, right? Giving yourself a little bit of touch support, but doing the other challenge for the inner ear. All right, now let's close the eyes if you want. So my head's going to stay still. And close the eyes and try to tune into that feeling of my feet shifting, right? That movement happening there to keep me steady. My hands are right at the chair so I can touch as soon as I feel like I need to. All right, now let's go ahead and switch sides. So eyes open. Let's just bring, the other foot forward, the other foot back. So you're standing still in the tightrope, okay, or as close to the tightrope as you want to get. Maybe you're like a 2x6 board instead of a line, right? And your feet have a little bit more space between them. All right, and then again, let's just first start with seeing what's it like to take the hands away. And then keeping the eyes open, maybe coming back to a little touch if you need. Turn the head right and left. All right, I feel myself wobble a little bit. I have to sort of lean. That tells me that I'm giving myself a little bit of a challenge. All right, eyes, head straight ahead. Let's try closing the eyes. All right, a few more seconds here. And open them up. All right, let's take a little break from balancing. Hands on the top of the chair, or they could be on a wall or on a countertop, and walk the feet back. Push the hips back, get nice and long through the arms, long through the spine. All right, and then walk it in. Now, got one more thing that we're going to do before we go to our soft surface, and this is going to involve just a different position. So I'm going to turn the chair around. This could also be done down on the floor in a hands and knees position, although it's a little different there. All right, I'm going to just use the chair, the seat of the chair as my platform, right? So stand back from it, place those hands down on the seat of the chair, walk your feet close together, and then let's just lift one leg up. All right, so I've got my right leg up behind me. So I have to work to hold that leg up. All right, now I'm going to take the left or the opposite arm and also lift that up. Right, so now I've got this sort of balancing on one hand and one foot. All right, now this could be where you stay. Remember those rules about you figuring out your best place? Now I feel like I can take a little more challenge, so I'm going to just come up onto the fingertips of my right hand first. All right, so now more of my weight is on my leg. And then if I feel really brave, I can take that hand up. Maybe I hold on to the back of the chair. It's up higher, so I can't put as much weight on it. So that's more challenging than hand on the seat of the chair. Or maybe I lift it up all together. This is called Warrior 3. Now I can touch as many times as I need to. I can come out of it. Let's see if we can stay 1 or 2 more breaths, whatever version you're doing. And then let's bring it down. Do a little walking out. Let the knees and the hips do a little bit of movement here. Just kind of shake out some of that sensation in the hips from standing on the one leg. All right, let's do the other side. Feet close together. All right, there could be some bend in your knees if need be. And then I'm going to lift that other leg. So for me, that's the left leg. Just try to switch sides. All right, and then try to bring that opposite arm up first. That right hand is up. This could be where you stay. And then if you want to try to take yourself to a little more challenge, maybe come up on the fingers of that other hand. Maybe lift it up. Maybe touch the back of the chair. This could be, again, at a wall. One more breath here. And then bring it down. And take, again, a little walking out, a little movement there. All right, let's stand it up. Now, if you want to try your soft surface or your uneven surface for some more standing balance on our feet, you're going to grab that now and place it down. And then again, we're going to have that chair, whatever position or whatever other thing you might be using, just wherever you can easily hold it. All right, so now I'm up on this soft surface. I'm up on my blanket here. All right. And the first thing we're going to do is a dynamic movement, just marching in place. Slow motion, however, right? So every time I pick up one foot, I'm standing on my one leg. I could be holding on, Or I could try not to touch. You could be doing this without the soft surface and still getting some balance benefit out of it, some balance training. All right, we're going to do 4 more, and then we're going to try to hold. So 4, 3, 2, hold. So hold one leg up, touch if needed. And let's switch sides, take that leg down, bring the other knee up and hold. Good, and then down. All right, feet close together. Still on our soft surface. So we did this earlier on the hard ground or on your solid ground. Now, if you're on that soft surface, you can just sort of see what's the difference here. What do you notice? Can you close your eyes here? All right, either with the eyes open, a little less challenging, or keep them closed, more challenging. Turn the head. Good. All right, eyes open. Let's step off of our surface, all right? And this last one that we're going to do is going to involve stepping from the solid ground onto the surface, the soft surface. Now, if you're not using a soft surface, you're just going to still take a step, right? And you're going to have some challenge there, just the change in position. If you want more challenge, you're going to look away from the leg that you're stepping on. So I'm going to step onto my surface and look away, and then step back down and look forward. And I'm going to step with the other leg and look away, and then back down. All right, I could be holding on. Another way that you could challenge yourself with this, if looking or turning the head isn't giving you what you want or doesn't feel right, you could close your eyes. Woo! That one's more challenging, at least for me. All right, so we're just stepping up. Let's do 4 more steps onto the surface. Two more. One more. Good. All right, eyes open if they were closed. And let's come on back to our seat. Wow, that 30 minutes went by kind of fast today. We're already right here with just a minute or so to go. So let's come back to the chair. Sit tall for a moment. Just check in. Take a breath. Let's take just a little stretch for the hips since we did some work on those legs. Try bringing one ankle up to cross on the knee. If that's too high, you'll cross that leg below the knee on the shin or near the ankle, right? So either position, sit tall, maybe lean into that a little bit if you want. Good. And then let's switch that to the other side, crossing ankle over there to the other leg, maybe on the shin, maybe up here at the knee. Sit tall. Again, maybe some lean into it. Good. And then release that, sit back up tall. Let's take a 3 breaths together before we finish. You can do arm movement with it, or you can keep your arms at the side. We're going to do it in through the nose this time, out through the mouth, kind of the opposite of what we did at the beginning. So 3 breaths. Two more. One more. And then bring those hands together in a gesture of gratitude. Be thankful to your body, especially, and all the good things that it does for you. Its capabilities there to stand on different surfaces, respond and react as quickly as it does. And of course, we're always grateful to AARP Alabama for giving us this opportunity to practice mindful movement together. We hope you'll keep joining us on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. for our mindful movement programming. And we'd love to hear from you. So let us know what you think and any requests you might have for future sessions.
A challenging session. I'm still trying to learn to roll my tongue in. So I've been practicing that all week. But we thank you for the session today, and we thank everyone for watching. So join us again for Mindful Movement all the time on Tuesday at 10 o'clock a.m. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody. Have a good week.
Bye, everybody.